President Trump's envoy to the Middle East is set to meet with Israeli and Qatari officials in Rome tomorrow as pressure mounts to reach a ceasefire. The situation for Palestinians and the remaining hostages held in Gaza can only be described as dire and hellish. 50 hostages are still in Hamas captivity. Only 20 of them are believed to still be alive. My next guest and his wife were kidnapped on October 7th from their kibbutz. Keith Siegel lost 110 pounds while he was held hostage in Gaza. He says he was starved and beaten by Hamas terrorists. The world was shocked by his emaciated appearance when he was finally freed just this past February after 484 days in Gaza. And since then, he's become a very vocal advocate for the remaining hostages. He is calling on this next ceasefire deal to include the release of all of those hostages. Keith Siegel joins me now. Keith, thank you so much for joining us. So this current peace deal includes and calls for the release of only 10 living hostages. That would leave 10 living hostages behind. Do you support this peace deal?
Thank you for having me. I support a deal, an agreement that will bring all of the 50 hostages home in the same agreement and to end the war in Gaza.
But this current deal, as it stands, means only half the living hostages would be freed. 18 dead hostages would be released. It's not a full release.
It is urgent to bring all of the 50 hostages back home. They are all in a life-threatening situation, the alive and the deceased. We risk losing them as long as the war goes on. They all need to come back. I call upon Prime Minister Netanyahu and I call upon President Trump and the mediating countries to all secure an agreement that will bring all of the 50 hostages back as soon as possible and bring an end to the war.
The families of these hostages are simply agonized over this. One said it's like Schindler's List. They said that, this is a quote, with Israel picking who can be released and who cannot. When you were held hostage, were you aware when other hostages were being released and while you were still being held? And if so, what was that like for you?
I was not aware of what was going on totally. I had bits and pieces of information from time to time. I never imagined that I would be released and the rest would stay behind. I have 4 friends of mine that I spent extended periods of time with in captivity that are still there. 4 friends of mine and all of the 50 hostages and their families are suffering now for 656 days. I was released after 484 days, and I can't imagine the suffering going on and on.
Yeah.
I am doing whatever I can to help get them back.
And how are you doing, Keith? I can't imagine this is something you'll ever fully get past.
I am here to speak on behalf of the 50 hostages and their families that are still going through this horrific tragedy. I am focusing on whatever I can do to help get them back.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
I was lucky enough. I am fortunate enough. My wife, Aviva, were both fortunate enough to have been released by an agreement that President Trump, Steve Witkoff, and the administration set at the highest of priority to make it happen.
All right.
I am alive because of President Trump, and I urge him to continue his efforts, and I believe he will, and he is doing that.
All right.
To bring all of them back.
Keith Siegel, I know you're in Washington, D.C. You've been meeting with members of the administration. Thank you so much for joining us. Really hope that we're celebrating the release of all those hostages.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.